Introduction. Ancient Egyptian literature is among the oldest and most significant literary traditions, serving as a foundation for understanding the development of thought and culture in ancient Egypt. Over thousands of years, the Egyptians documented their lives and ideas through writing, which evolved alongside the development of their society. This literature is not just a collection of written texts but a window into a world filled with wisdom, philosophy, and politics. It reflects the everyday and religious life that prevailed in pharaonic civilization. In this article, we will take you on a journey through the evolution of the ancient Egyptian languages and explore how these writings reflected various aspects of life in ancient Egypt, from wisdom literature to narrative stories and historical inscriptions. Let us examine how writing became a tool not only for documenting daily events but also for capturing the philosophical and religious visions that contributed to shaping one of the greatest civilizations in history. The evolution of ancient Egyptian languages and literature. The Egyptian language bears witness to a long evolution that began in the early periods of Egyptian history. Although writing first appeared in the late 4th millennium BC, it was initially used to record titles and names, and it wasn't until later that it began to document ideas and literary texts. With the rise of the Old Kingdom around 2600 BC, the Egyptian language began to emerge in written form as a tool for documenting daily events and government activities. This language remained dominant until around 2100 BC, when Middle Egyptian began to be used during the Middle Kingdom. While there was a close relationship between Old Egyptian and Middle Egyptian, New Egyptian emerged as a completely separate form during the New Kingdom, with changes in grammatical rules. Writing in ancient Egypt, hieroglyphs and hieratic. In ancient times, the Egyptians used hieroglyphs, which were the formal script used for religious inscriptions and monumental texts, alongside hieratic, which was a simplified script used in daily life and for official correspondence. In the New Kingdom, hieratic became more widely used, distinguishing between religious and funerary texts and the everyday texts written on papyrus scrolls. Even though hieroglyphs transitioned into Demotic around the 7th century BCE, sacred and religious writing in hieroglyphs retained its special status in rituals and funerary practices. Hieroglyphic writing. This script relied on pictorial symbols to record everything from names and religious terms to literary works. It was characterized by precision and the ability to document historical and intellectual details with great accuracy. Hieratic writing, simpler than hieroglyphs, this script was mainly used in daily life on papyrus. It was written faster and employed for practical documents such as business letters or legal records. Ancient Egyptian literature, its themes and developments. Ancient Egyptian literature was diverse, encompassing religious, educational, and social texts. Literature in ancient Egypt was an integral part of daily life, with scribes playing a major role in organizing official documents, writing commercial letters, and recording legal transactions. The Egyptian schools taught children from noble and scribe families the art of writing, guiding them toward wisdom intended to promote ethical and social values. These educational texts were reserved for scribes and included proverbs and wisdom related to justice and loyalty in service to the pharaoh and the gods. Egyptian literary text had a significant influence on shaping social and political values, as literature was used to document and guide social and political life. Wisdom literature and teachings. One of the most prominent forms of ancient Egyptian literature was wisdom literature, which developed primarily during the Middle Kingdom. The text The Instruction of Ptahhotep is one of the most notable examples of this genre, offering advice on living with wisdom and integrity. These texts were written to guide individuals toward a disciplined life that promoted social values such as justice and loyalty. The instructions of Amenemhat I for his sons expressed ethical guidelines urging them to maintain loyalty to the king and to ensure social and political stability. The teachings of loyalty are among the most preserved texts, guiding future generations toward loyalty to traditional Egyptian values. These texts not only reflect the wisdom of ancient Egypt but also reveal the political philosophy in which the king was viewed as a central figure in maintaining societal stability. Narrative stories. The Egyptian ancient storytelling tradition. Among the most famous literary forms in ancient Egypt were the narrative tales, which varied between historical and fictional stories. Stories like the Tale of Sinuhe and the Eloquent Peasant represented a blend of tales rich with wisdom, presenting characters in various situations that highlight Egyptian social values. These tales were not only for entertainment but also served as educational tools. For example, in the Tale of Sinuhe, the text includes lessons on honesty and loyalty in society, as well as showcasing the impact of exile on Egyptians. These stories clearly demonstrate how literature served as an educational tool for social values, with lessons in loyalty and honesty presented through narratives filled with moral teachings. Social and religious literary production. Much of ancient Egyptian literature dealt with social and religious issues. The scribes in ancient Egypt were responsible for recording magical spells in tombs to ensure the deceased's survival in the afterlife, as well as funerary texts that were inscribed on tomb walls and inside pyramids. Literature was also used for religious purposes, such as the pyramid texts of King Yunus, written in a magnificent poetic style to guide the royal soul on its journey to the afterlife. Through these funerary texts, the Egyptians believed that their written words would help them survive in the afterlife, making the writing of religious and funerary texts on pyramid walls and temples a primary way to ensure immortality. Oratory and commemorative inscriptions. Another literary form in ancient Egypt included oratory and eulogies, which involved speeches and dialogues on death and destiny. One of the most famous texts in this genre is the Dialogue of a Man with His Soul, which expresses social and philosophical views prevalent in ancient Egyptian society. Additionally, numerous commemorative inscriptions have been found describing the lives of individuals through their autobiographies, written on the walls of tombs and temples to immortalize their deeds and history. Commemorative inscriptions were used to document personal achievements of families and nobles in Egyptian society, seen as a lasting way to highlight their accomplishments for future generations. Historical inscriptions and Royal Chronicles. Egyptian literary texts have provided remarkable historical documents about wars and royal politics. For instance, the records of Thutmose III, inscribed on the walls of the Karnak temples, provide detailed accounts of his military campaigns in Syria and Palestine. Ramses II immortalized the Battle of Kadesh against the Hittites in an epic poem, making this text one of the earliest attempts in ancient Egyptian literature to depict wars in an epic poetic form. Additionally, Egyptian literature provides valuable insights into the history of the 25th dynasty through the inscriptions of Pharaoh Pa, which record his military victories. These historical inscriptions served as a means of documenting military and political events, reflecting the relationship between the king and his people and showing how literature was used to immortalize the pharaoh's triumphs. Translating and interpreting ancient Egyptian literature. Translating ancient Egyptian literature is an intriguing subject in the study of ancient Egyptian culture. After the Egyptians converted to Christianity, Coptic literature began to evolve, but it maintained influences from ancient Egyptian literature. In ancient times, Egyptian literature conveyed social and religious values, but with the discovery of the Rosetta Stone in 1799, scholars began to decipher hieroglyphs and gain a deeper understanding of ancient Egyptian texts. Conclusion: ancient Egyptian literature was an integral part of daily life and religious and social beliefs in ancient Egypt. Through religious, educational, and historical texts, we can see how this literature reflects the intellectual and doctrinal development that Egypt underwent over the ages. By studying these literary and historical texts, we gain a deeper understanding of the ancient Egyptian civilization, their view of the world around them, and their beliefs about the afterlife. If you are interested in delving deeper into this fascinating field, follow our channel for more articles and resources to enrich your knowledge of ancient Egypt's history and cultural evolution. Don't forget to subscribe and activate the bell to follow our latest videos on this exciting subject.